So what is going on, guys? Welcome to another Garden Warfare 2 video. Today I'm going to be talking you through all of the character changes and balancing that they did bring in the Graveyard Variety Pack, which is the most recent content update we did get for Garden Warfare 2. If you don't already know, there is a brand new update out. We've got a remake of Garden Center, which is called Aqua Center. Get onto your console or your PC now, download the brand new content update and go ahead and play. Now, they did bring some other things to this update as well. They did bring some changes that they have brought into it. They've added some new features and they've also done a lot of bug fixes and things like that. But today I'm only going to be talking about the character balancing and changes, so let's get straight into it. So the first thing they've done is they've improved something for all characters and AIs across the game. The first thing is they've improved the health regeneration upgrade for all characters. So it doesn't matter which character you are running. If you are running the health regeneration upgrade, which does increase how quickly you regenerate your health, it will regenerate faster than it did before the update, which is something definitely cool if you do want to use that upgrade. The next thing they've done is they've retuned all hit reactions for both player and AI to reduce the flinching effect and even more. So those are the things that are across all characters in the game and AI. Now we're going to move on to some specific character changes themselves, and I am going to be using as much gameplay as I can to explain in detail, and you can actually visually see the difference between the characters. But first off, we're just going to talk about all of the different health changes that have been brought to the game, because there's been 3 different characters that have had 3 different health changes. That is the Rose, the Imp, and the Colonel Corn. The Rose characters have had her health reduced by 25, so she's now on 100 health rather than 125. The Imp and the Colonel Corn have both had their health increased by 25, so the Imp's gone from 50 to 75, and just remember this is across all variants. And then you do have the Colonel Corn variants, which have gone from 125 to 150. Now those are probably the most notable changes in the game. I am going to talk about each character now individually, and we're going to start off with the Rose character. So let's go. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are very excited about the nerfs to the Rose class, because she was the most powerful class in Garden Warfare 2. I saw a lot of people saying they felt guilty playing as Rose because she was so powerful, but along with that, there was also a lot of people who didn't enjoy playing on the zombies because of the Rose class, and the majority of the time, the plant class did actually win, and this was all because of the Rose class. So what they have done is they've completely retuned her, bringing her back to playing as a support role, because just remember, Rose is meant to be a support player that builds the teleporters, helps the team out and things like that. She's not meant to be a player that can go in the front line and take on 50 zombies, go on 60 vanquish streaks. That's not the way she was designed. Now, the reason she was so powerful is because from the beta to Garden Warfare 2, the full launch, they actually reduced the speed of the majority of the characters. The game felt too fast paced, so they did reduce the overall speed of the characters, and because of this, her homing thistles locked on much easier, and therefore she did a lot more damage, and that's the reason why the Rose character was so powerful. But they have reduced a lot of her features, including they've reduced her health, which I did touch on a little bit earlier on. They've also done major changes to her homing thistles. She's ineffective at range. You can see on screen right now, she actually does not have a lot of range. You can see once you do get into a certain distance, the kind of red lock-on area completely disappears, and you kind of have to try and judge where that shot's going to go, and you want to try and stay in a certain distance so you cannot try and lock them on. And it does also say it requires a player to lead targets in order to land more hits. Now, they've also slightly reduced the fire rate of the magic thistles, which is a really good thing as well, so she's not actually going to be able to fire as quickly as she did before the update. They've also significantly reduced the length a victim is trapped in the time snare, so the ability of the time snare, I definitely knew it was too long, so they have actually reduced the time that you are caught in this time snare, which is a great feature because it was definitely too long. They've also changed how Goatify ability works so that damage does not break Goatify, creating a more predictable and less jarring experience and a lowered time as a goat. So what they've done is they've reduced the time that you will be a goat for, and they've also changed it so that no matter how much damage you do to the goat, they're still going to remain as a goat for that period of time, which was a little bit annoying because you could turn a player into a goat and do a certain amount of damage, and then they'll change back into like a super brains or something like that, and then they're just back to where they was before. And this is also a good feature for if you're playing Garden Ops or something. You may have a coughing zombie or a barrel zombie, and you could do a little bit of damage into them, and then they change back into that coffin zombie or barrel zombie, and they've got their armor back. So it's a really good thing having it so they're a timed goat rather than actually being timed and also damage based. It's just going to go off how long you are a goat for, unless you do get vanquished before the time is up. And the final thing they have changed to the Rose character class is they've slowed down how fast you can move as the fire and ice variant when you are charging your weapon. Now this is significantly reduced speed, you can definitely tell the difference, and you just cannot move as fast when you are charging your weapon. So those are all the changes for the GOATs. I'm just going to put a hashtag right on the top of the screen now saying hashtag RIP Rose Players. It was something that I did actually tweet when we did get the update, and I think that's probably got like 50 favourites or something right now. A lot of people are happy to see the Rose character class. Let me know in the comments down below why you love the Rose being nerfed. They've made a slight nerf to the Party Citron in where they've decreased the laser damage that the Party Citron will do. Now I'm not sure if this is when it is in party mode, or it's just before party mode, or it could be a mix of both. Either way, they've just decreased the damage that the Party Citron's laser can do. Now, the Colonel Con has had a couple of buffs. The first one was, like I did mention, they've increased the health from 125 to 150. They've also improved its long-range damage, so the further you are away, you're still going to do more damage than what you did before the update. And they've also reduced Party Con's damage output, so it's very similar to what they did with the Party Citron. Like I said, though, I'm not sure if it's the overall damage of the Party Con itself, so before its party mode, after its party mode, or a mix of both. They have made quite a few changes to the Chomper classes. They've actually decreased the digest time after a Chomp escape. What this means is, for example, you can have two different situations as a Chomper. You can either swallow a player and then you get the vanquish, or you can swallow, for example, a jackhammer because the engineer is riding it, and they've actually decreased the time that you are digesting that jackhammer for. So I'm going to put two clips together on screen so you can see right now. They're going to swallow the engineer at the same time, and they're also going to swallow the jackhammer at the same time. And you will actually be able to notice that there is a slight digestion time which is decreased for the jackhammer. So that means you're not going to be digesting for the same amount of time as a player that you would a jackhammer. It's going to be slightly shorter, so that means even though you've not got the vanquish, you are going to slightly be rewarded in the fact that you can then get away quicker because you've digested it much quicker. They have also brought the Chomper's regeneration delay on par with the other playable characters. So what this means is when you do get damaged by a zombie, the time between when you get damaged and when you will start to regenerate health has a certain time limit. I'm not sure if it was more or less as the Chomper, but they've now reduced it or increased it so it is now on par with the other playable characters. Now the Chomp thing also did not match his weapon description. He didn't regenerate health quicker or sooner than the normal Chomper. So I'm going to actually put a visual on screen right now where the Chomper and Chomp Thing will both get damaged at the same time, and you will see that Chomp Thing's health regeneration will start sooner, and he will actually heal quite faster as well. They've also increased the Unicorn Chomper's Rainbow Warp cooldown time, so you're not going to be able to use that as frequently, and they've also increased the Goop cooldown so that it couldn't be spammed quite as much. They have also made a huge change to the Zen Cats, as she was too damaging and also needed some damage and reload adjustments. Now, before the update, her bullets kind of increased in damage if you didn't reload. So the first one started out at 35 damage, the second one was 45, then 55 at 65, and then 75 damage. After the update, each bullet has been reduced by 15 damage. So it starts off with 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, and then 60. So that is quite a huge difference in damage. Overall, between the 5 bullets, that is going to be 75 damage reduced than what it was before the update. And I'm sure the reloading time is going to be increased, so it's going to take slightly longer to reload. But she definitely did need a nerf. She was a really good character, and I really enjoyed it. I'm sure I probably still will enjoy her, but she definitely did need a damage reduction with her weapon. Now, like I did say, there have been some changes with the Imp character. They did actually say they did the Imp tuning and focused on ensuring that he had a bit more survivability outside of his mech, and also improved his primary weapon slightly. So, they've improved the damage slightly of the Imp's primary weapon. This, I think, goes across all characters on the Imp class. They've also, like I did mention earlier on as well, they've increased the health from 50 to 75. They fixed a bug where the Imp couldn't receive damage while he was calling in his Z-mech. Now, this is like a huge thing, because basically as soon as you press the Y button, that was kind of a get out of jail card for the Imp. You could have 2 health, but as soon as you press that Y button to call in your mech, you could not get damaged at all. That's changed in where when you do pull out your phone and make the phone call, you can still get damaged up until the point where the kind of white beam of light appears and then your mech starts falling down. You'll definitely be able to notice the difference on screen, because I do call in my phone, I still get damaged, but then as soon as I get the white beam of light, I cannot get damaged anymore. So that's one thing that they did to the Imp as well, and they've also reduced the Party Imp's damage output as well. Super Brains have had some changes as well. They've done a slight cooldown reduction to the Super Ultra Ball and the Super Multi Ultra Ball abilities, so that means that you're going to be able to use these slightly quicker. They've also made some minor speed improvements to the Turbo Twister, so that means when you are in the Turbo Twister, you're going to be able to move quicker, but at the cost of decrease to his armor, while in Turbo Twister, which I thought was definitely needed. When the Super Brains was in his Turbo Twister, you can only do 1 damage per bullet. I believe that's like 2, 3 now, so you can damage them more when they are in the Turbo Twister, but he can move faster. They've removed the decay from Toxic Bane's legendary meter to make it more useful, so that means it's going to take less vanquishes to be able to get the legendary meter full for Toxic Brains, and they've also reduced the damage for Party Brains as well. The final character that has had some changes is Captain Deadbeard. They said they wanted to bring Captain Deadbeard closer to the damage par of the Cactus, but just slightly below, because he does also benefit from his close range scatter shot. So they've made some slight improvements to Captain Deadbeard's weapon, I believe. They have also made some improvements to his barrel, so that when you are in your barrel, you will be able to move faster when it is unlit, because it's a lot smaller than when the barrel is lit. So you are going to be able to move faster when the barrel is still not lit. And they've also made some damage reductions to the Captain Partyman as well. But those are all the character changes that they did bring to the Graveyard Variety Pack. There was a lot of them, especially based around Rose, the Imp, and the Chomper, but there's been a lot of changes, and I'm sure they are going in the right direction. But anyway, guys, hopefully you did enjoy this video, and it hopefully helped you out so you know what are the changes from the Graveyard Variety Pack. And let me know in the comments down below, like, which is your favourite character now, you know, because there's going to be a lot of changes between the game. The Imp's been improved, so maybe the Imp's going to be your favourite character now, or the Super Brains. Let me know in the comments below which is your favourite character, and hopefully, guys, I'll catch you in the next one.